Hello, welcome. So I am finally taking some time to sit down and talk about my birth story, and I'm so excited to kind of like reflect on that part because a lot went down, y'all. And I don't know, I wouldn't change it for the world. Well, obviously you can't change it because it is what it is. Like, it already happened. And before I get into this video, I just want to say, like, any mamas watching this, like, listen, our stories is what makes us who we are. Embrace those things. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Going into this second time labor and delivery, I really educated myself as far as, you know, the different stages of labor, how labor even starts, just like what makes labor progress, all the things. And the main person that I followed was the Naked Doula here on Instagram. So if you're ever curious, definitely check her out. I love her page because there's such lightheartedness to it, but it gives you the facts. So that's that. Embrace your journey. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise, and just make informed decisions that are best for you, your baby, and your body. Okay, so first things first, let's get into like when I started noticing my first early stages of labor. And I believe it was Saturday. So it was Saturday. So we're going through the week, right? So Saturday, I was sitting on the toilet and I'm bouncing on my yoga ball, y'all. If you've been following me, you know that yoga ball, I was bouncing on that every single day. I was bouncing. So I was bouncing on the yoga ball. I was about like 38 weeks, 5 days, 6 days, something like that. No, I'm lying. 38 and like 5. It doesn't matter. Just know that we were close to like full term. So I'm bouncing on the yoga ball. I go to the bathroom, and all of a sudden I feel like this big glop just coming out of my vagina. And just let you guys know, if you're queasy, you're like, oh my god, ew, that's so nasty. This video is not for you because I'm gonna be very detailed, okay? And it's a part of your body. It is what it is, okay? Anyway, so I feel like this big blob come out, like kind of like when your period's coming out. So I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then when I wiped, it looked like a big ass moco, like a booger, like a big snotty, not green, clear as day, like clear. And I was just like, this is my mucus plug, y'all. Giovanni's just moving around. I'm like, am I talking too loud? But clear as day, I was like, oh, this is my mucus plug, like, oh shit. And I called Eddie and I showed him. I did not take a picture because who's taking pictures of that stuff anyway? So that came out and I was like, okay, that's interesting, because I never really had that with Gabby. So I was like, okay, that's interesting, we'll see what happens. So that night, like around 11, I started getting like contractions, feeling like menstrual cramps. And I was like, and I started timing them, and they were kind of close. And I was just like, is this it? Like, are we going into labor? But I was able to fall asleep through them. And I was like, you know what? This ain't labor, because if it was, you're not able to sleep through that shit. So was able to sleep through it. And then the next day, I'm on the toilet again after I'm bouncing my life away on that ball. And then I saw the bloody show. And basically the bloody show is just like what it is. It's just like a whole bunch of blood and mucus. I was like, oh my god. So my doctor's office is closed. And I wasn't too concerned because the baby was moving and stuff like that, because that happened Sunday. And I figured I was having contractions and stuff like that. And it wasn't soaking my pad, like period, like for an hour. Because if you're soaking a pad, that's like super dangerous. I would call or go straight into the ER right away, labor and delivery. So that happened. So I was like, oh my god, I got a fucking bloody show. And I was having contractions here and there, but nothing steady that they're gonna admit me to the hospital, okay? So I'm like, okay, whatever, living my life, doing errands, blah blah blah, all that stuff. And then Tuesday rolls around, right? Was it Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday rolls around, and then I have my NSTs, which are the non-stress tests. And then oh wait, we gotta rewind. I gotta make sure I give you guys the details. Monday I called and I told the girl like my symptoms and stuff, and they're like, that's normal, don't worry about it. Like if you're getting contractions like 411, which is like 4-minute contractions. No, I forgot the thing. I don't know, y'all. My brain is fried. Google it. Y'all know what it is. But basically, if you're having a certain amount of contractions that last a certain amount of time. Oh, 1-minute contractions that are 4 minutes apart, lasting an hour. Call or go straight into the labor and delivery. But I wasn't having that. So fine. Monday passed. We go into our NST. I see her. Everything's fine on the NST. Like, no contractions. Baby's good. I'm like, this boy's playing games. So when I walk to the bathroom to pee, I feel a contraction. I said he would do that when I'm walking to the bathroom. So that's that. Then we go to the eat, me and Eddie with Gabby. We're just hanging out, chilling, living our lives. We come home around 6 o'clock. You know, me and Gabby sit, we're watching Moana. I'm bouncing on the ball, and all of a sudden I get this really strong contraction. And then I hear a pop, and then my water broke, because my water broke actually with Gabby. So I know that feeling and sensation. So when I went to the bathroom to pee, like I peed, I cleaned, I stood up, and when I sat back down, the water just gushed. And when you looked at the toilet, it was just clear with like white specks. I'm like, my water broke. So I call labor and delivery. I say, hey, I'm on my way. My water broke. My hospital is like 30 minutes from here, so it was gonna take us a while. So we get Gabby ready, we send her off to the neighbors, and I grab my maternity bag or hospital bag or whatever you want to call it, and we're off. Mind you, we forgot the car seat, we forgot a bag for Eddie. Like, we were a hot ass mess, y'all. But yeah, so then we get to the hospital, we check in, we do all this stuff, and then we go into the room, and I'm like, I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick. So I use the bathroom again, and another big gush just comes. It puddles into my like little fake Birkenstocks and stuff. And I'm like, and the nurses are like, yeah, your water broke. I said, I know. So she asked me if I wanted to do a cervical exam. I said, sure. And I was like, I'm really curious to see like what my measurements were. And I said, I think I'm 4 centimeters dilated. And when she checked me, y'all, I was 0.5 centimeters dilated, with a posterior cervix, meaning my cervix was facing the back. She had to like go in there and hook it. And then, but I was 80% effaced, meaning baby was coming down. So I was like, all right, cool, whatever. So they get me up into the labor and delivery room. And then that's when the whole process started. So my first thing was, I'm gonna go as long as possible without an epidural as I can. Mind you, they hooked me up to Pitocin, which is artificial oxytocin, which helps progress labor. And they only had me at a 1, which is like the lowest of the low. I was like, okay, I can do this. And those contractions were coming in strong. I was like, oh my God, okay, breathe. Flappy face, flappy fanny. Like, don't tense up, relax, breathe. Eddie was helping me. He was squeezing my back whenever I was getting those contractions, because boy, they was hurting. And we made it to maybe about like 2 centimeters, and then she was like, okay, we're gonna up the Pitocin. And I asked for a peanut ball. Mind you, the beginning I was just using like my handy dandy yoga ball, but I was like, you know, let's do the peanut ball. And you guys, once I got on that peanut ball, those contractions were coming in strong, to the point where I turned around and threw up my life. Like, I think I threw up my whole stomach at that point. Like, it was really bad. And I was like, check to see how dilated I am, because if not, I need an epidural right away. Like, give it to me. I need pain relief, because I do not think I can go another 8 centimeters without pain meds. And they were trying to give me like fentanyl or something like that, and me and Eddie were like, nah, we're not trying to do that stuff, like chill. So gave me the option. She was like, okay, we can give you an epidural now or you wait 2 hours. I said, give it to me now. Give me that damn epidural now. So the guy comes in, the anesthesiologist gives me the epidural, and all is well. All is well. I'm still able to kind of feel pressure, move my legs if I needed to. Obviously, they feel super heavy, but you're still able to move around, which is perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. I did not want to feel no sensation at all because I still wanted to be able to know when my body wanted to push and all that stuff. So that happened around like 1 in the morning or like 12, and I progressed pretty quick. I think by the time 6, 7 o'clock in the morning came, I was already a full 10 centimeters, 100% effaced. And then I think what moms don't realize, or like expecting moms and people that go into like labor and delivery, is that after you're 10 centimeters, 100% effaced, you actually have to labor down, which means your baby has to move down through your pelvic bone. And there's different levels or stages to it, like -3, -2, -1, 0, and then +1, +2, +3, or whatever it is. And like +3 is basically meaning that you're crowning, like the baby's coming out. So I was 10 centimeters dilated, 100% effaced, but I was at a -3. So baby was still kind of high. So we were laboring down. We were in the transition of switching shifts because now it's like 7 in the morning, and they switched shifts 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. So I'm getting a whole new team. My OBGYN comes in. He's like, you know, treat her as a first-time vaginal delivery, which technically I was. And then we'll go from there and we'll see. Everything was fine. You know, they had me trying different positions and stuff like that just to try to get this baby to labor down. Now, I pushed y'all for 3 hours. To the point that at one of the pushes, I shitted myself. Like, I legit shitted myself. And I was like, babe, I shitted myself. Like, oh my God. But, you know, it is what it is. These nurses see everything. So I wasn't even that embarrassed. But I was like, damn, that was kind of like, ugh, nasty. So yeah, so we're pushing for 3 hours. And then my doctor comes in. And I knew. He checks me and he comes and he pulls his hand out and he said, your baby pooped inside of you. And I was like, no, because with Gabby, she had pooped inside of me, but before I even started labor and delivery. Like, she pooped inside of me when my water broke. And they saw the meconium and they were like, yeah, your baby pooped. And I actually went through the laboring process with the meconium still in me for a couple of hours. And I got an infection, got a fever. Like, I was really sick with Gabby. And then with this one, it was towards the end that he pooped. And I figured it was because of all the pushing and just stress and stuff like that. And there was no way he was going to come out on his own, because come to find out, he was sunny side up, meaning his forehead was facing upward towards my pelvic bone instead of sideways, where his head can fit better and kind of like squeeze out of my pelvic bone. So my doctor said there's options. Either you get this baby out with a vacuum, which I'm like, I don't want to have a vacuum because there's risk that when they take the vacuum to his head, they can cause brain damage. He can damage my pelvic bone. Like, there's a lot of shit that goes into it. Or go into a C-section. And I was just like, you know what? Let's just do a C-section. I feel like that's the safest possibility for me and baby boy. And, you know, the doctor agreed, and, you know, he showed me a little empathy and compassion. And, you know, I cried a little, I did. And, you know, tears fell down, not like dramatic, but, you know, I thanked the nurses and stuff for even attempting to help me, you know, achieve my VBAC of my dreams. But I knew then and there that there was no way I was gonna push this baby out without there being like some injury, you know? So we get prepped, we go into the labor and delivery room, and to be honest, this time it was so different from the way that it was with Gabby. Because with Gabby, I delivered at a military hospital and they had all these people in there some with military uniform, some without. There were just a lot of people in there. And then this one, it was just smaller, a little bit more intimate. There was 2 surgeons, and obviously the baby's doctor, and then other nurses that help out too, the anesthesiologist and stuff. And it was really nice and calm. Like, I walked in, they were playing Alicia Keys. The anesthesiologist asked me what music I wanted to play. Like, they were really, really attentive. And to tell you the truth, Giovanni came out so fast. He was like in there probably like 10-20 minutes prepping me to get ready to operate, and he was out. Like, but it was crazy because when the anesthesiologist was like, "Oh, he's here," it was quiet, and I looked at Eddie. I was like, "Is he okay?" Like, is the baby okay? Because I do not hear him crying, but he's just so chill as a baby that I guess he was just like looking around. All I hear is the other surgeon saying, "Oh, he's gonna be a soccer player because he's kicking." So that means he was pretty healthy and good. So I was like, okay. And then when they put him on the little warmer table thing, I hear a little cry, and then he's fine. And then all of a sudden they're sucking out all that meconium and stuff that he swallowed, because he did a big ass poop in my belly, like a big one. Like, I had to stay there for a while they were cleaning up all that poop inside of me, and then with Giovanni and stuff like that. And then the nurses asked me if I wanted to do skin to skin, but honestly, I was shaking so bad from the anesthesia. Like, that anesthesia, those shakes are like no joke. Like, I'm literally like just shaking my life away. I was like, oh my God, I can't stop it, and I hate it, and I really hate that feeling. So I was like, no, I want to hold him once I'm like calm, relaxed, and all that stuff. But other than that, even the option to get different options during a C-section is what made it so enjoyable for me. Like, them asking me like, what do you want to listen to? Do you want to see him coming out? Do you want to do skin to skin? Like, just giving me those options as a mama who like had regular vaginal birth is just so nice and like empowering, and it makes you feel connected. Honestly, I did not want to see him coming out of my stomach, because I was like, if something's wrong with my baby, I'm gonna fucking freak out, and they're gonna have to knock me out. And I don't want to get knocked out. So no. And I didn't want to do skin to skin right away because I was shaking like a fucking tembleque, like earthquake central. I was like, and then yeah, he was nice and healthy and happy baby. And once I got out of that operating room, they sent me to the recovery room where I did skin to skin with him. And you know, everything went well. Now, what am I, 8-9 days postpartum, and I'm starting to show signs of an infection in my C-section. And that's basically because of, what is it that the doctor said? Because like when they cut me open and all that meconium and stuff like that, like, you can get the risk of getting an infection. Like, now that makes sense, because with Gabby, when I did get an infection and a fever, they gave me antibiotics right away and cleared it right away. So I am waiting to get my antibiotics for that to clear up. But that was my story. I think I covered everything. I feel like I'd be leaving things out. I really do. But let me tell you, the recovery after those 2 days I was in the hospital, I threw up maybe like 3 times. Like, it was so bad. I was so dizzy. I was just like, when they pump you with those medicines, y'all, like, it is not fun. Like, I literally feel like hell. Like a truck came and ran me over. But it's all worth it. So that is it for my birth story. If you have any questions, anything like that, let me know. Let's chat. I love listening to other people's birth stories. I just find it so interesting and just like amazing at what the human body is capable of doing. All right, love you guys. Bye.